Us on YouTube and Facebook because topping tonight's news, an investigation is now underway after a 27-year-old woman was shot early this morning over in Pagat, Mingilao. Chris Barnett has our top reports.
It was around 3 this morning when Brian Rooney found his auntie, 27-year-old Rina Pito, in the driveway of their house just off a back road in Pagat. Right away, he says he knew something was wrong.
I woke up when my car was here. My auntie was here. She was bleeding. I don't know what happened.
Rooney telling KUAM his auntie had been driving his car.
All I saw was her bleeding and stuff like that. Saw a little wound somewhere over here, like on her cheek.
The family's landlord, Zenaida Carbon, confirming the victim in this case was pregnant.
Good people. They're good people. Yes, I talked to her because they don't have telephone. They came over to use my telephone. She's good. And she said she's pregnant. He said, boy or girl? And he said, I don't know yet, manang.
The KUAM Police Department isn't saying much about the case other than it's still under investigation, but Mingilao Mayor Alan Ugata tells us GPD detectives combed the area around the house late this morning. Meanwhile, Rooney said after he found his auntie in the driveway, the family quickly called for help.
We just called the police and told them to come up, called the ambulance. They came up, took her.
Was your auntie conscious?
Yeah, she was in pain.
Did she say who shot her?
No.
KUAM Memorial Hospital Administrator Lillian Posadas tells KUAM she can't release any information about the victim, citing privacy laws. KUAM's News Network, Chris Barnett reports.
Also tonight, the federal case against Judicial Mayor Blas gears up for trial in the beginning of December, with another motion and the official trial brief having now been filed presenting new evidence. Adriana Cotero has our next story.
6 counts of extortion, 7 counts of Travel Act bribery. Zonia Mayor Blas was indicted on these federal charges on September 24, 2019. Blas is accused of accepting bribes and allowing individuals to utilize village mailboxes to smuggle in meth. The defendant's former girlfriend, Vicky Lynn Tergezu, was the initial informant. According to court documents, Tergezu told the feds she had a key to the mailboxes to receive narcotic packages. Court documents state, quote, the defendant told Ms. Tergezu that she could pay him once she received a package and distributed the contents, end quote. Based on this information, FBI Special Agent Rafael Fernandez approached the government's cooperant in the case, Brenda Kenyon, who was living in Zonia at the time, and did not have previous contact with Mayor Blas, but was working with the government pursuant to a plea agreement. In November 2018, Brenda posed as the drug trafficker. As you may recall, defendant Brenda Kenyon's case was unsealed last week. Kenyon entered a guilty plea in September 2018 for extortion by wrongful use of threat and force, violence, or fear, and aiding and abetting extortion under pretense of office and employment. She was arrested for a robbery scheme that occurred between April 2017 to May 2018 that involved a market in Agate. In Kenyon's case, a motion was made on August 2019 to allow the defendant to travel to Yap for a 90-day security term, unless required by the court to appear for a hearing here on Guam. According to the trial brief, video and audio recordings will be brought into evidence in addition to various FBI special agents, multiple postal inspectors, and both Brenda and Vicky Lynn are expected to return to Guam to testify as government witnesses during Blas's trial. Defense attorney Joseph Rosano opposes the government's motion in limine to preclude an entrapment defense and proper evidence and argument at trial. He argues that the government's case is built upon the unbelievable words of convicted federal offenders who were highly verifiably involved in the trafficking of drugs. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Adriana Cotero.
Well, and further to this story, the government's initial complainant in the Jodnya mayor's case also faces local drug charges. Vicky Lynn Tergezu's case was heard in Judge Anita Socola's courtroom. Tergezu was not present for the hearing, as it was stated in court, as she's still up north in Saipan cooperating with the feds. According to her attorney, William Gavris, there's an offer in the works with a joint client. Gavris says he's been speaking with the federal government to include Tergezu's plea with her sentencing together for her protection. The judge asked her if she was in danger, with the attorney saying yes, according to the federal government. The judge scheduled a return for December the 2nd. Well, defendant Brandon Acosta's attorney William Pohl indicated to the court that there is a miscommunication with the Department of Corrections on the evaluation for the defendant. Pohl says it's not for medical purposes and the interview still needs to be completed. Paul filed this motion for the evaluation under seal with Acosta accused of raping and murdering 15-year-old Tamika Nauta. He pled not guilty and asserted his rights to trial, and Judge Vern Perez noted this, stating, quote, "My intent is that the case goes forward as efficiently and quickly as possible." His Honor scheduled further proceedings for late November. In other news, NMI District Court Chief Judge Ramona Manglotnia has issued written decisions on judge filed in the Boom Matanonia case, with the judge denying the government's motion to review of his order of release. In June, the U.S. Attorney's Office filed motion to review his release because they want him detained pending trial due to the fact that they argue he is a danger to the community and a flight risk. The Chief Judge says Matanonia has successfully rebutted the presumption against pretrial release. The conditions tailored to his release, including monitored home detention, will reasonably assure both Matanonia's appearance at trial and the community's safety. He's a former retired police officer, as you know, and a former member of the FBI. Earlier this year, he pleaded not guilty to charges of 3 counts of obstructing justice by endeavoring to influence a juror and a single count of conspiracy for meth distribution. The 2 charges will be tried separately. In other crime news, inmate Dominic Felder says DOC is painting a picture that they did nothing wrong. Felder, who is an African-American inmate and a Muslim, filed a complaint in federal court alleging DOC is prohibiting him from conducting his religious activity of having his wife braid his hair and from practicing other activities relative to his faith. The AG filed a response maintaining his constitutional rights are not being violated and requested the case be dismissed. In Felder's response, he says there is a real history of religious discrimination, retaliation, and blatant disregard for human life and constant Jim Crow age bigotry which has led to this point. He seeks up to $300,000 for physical and emotional damage, as well as $20,000 for each of the 5 defendants named in the lawsuit. Well, talks are underway in other news between U.S. Justice Department attorneys and CLTC lawyers, which could lead to a settlement of the federal government's complaint challenging the constitutionality of the Land Trust Act. CLTC attorney Mike Phillips says the current discussions are ongoing as well, as he is optimistic the case could be resolved soon.
At least in principle, I would be surprised if we didn't have some resolution of the major parts of the case tomorrow. And then, of course, that's when the legislature and the other entities need to come in and give their blessing, because they're totally in charge of this at the end of the day.
This latest litigation follows a complaint filed by the Justice Department against the Chamorro Land Trust Commission, claiming racial discrimination and violations of the Fair Housing Act. But the CLTC has argued that eligibility is not based on race, but a political classification.
It doesn't matter what color, creed, or religion you were back then. If you lost property, and that's really the goal of the Chamorro Land Trust Act. But more importantly, the definition we use is the definition that came from America, and that is, those that were made citizens pursuant to the authority and enactment. And that's a special group of people, but it's not limited to Chamorros.
Phillips praised his federal counterparts, saying they have a strong grasp of the issues and may be the best team he's ever dealt with.
We're optimistic. I'm sure the feds are optimistic too, but I can tell you, I've been litigating for over 30 years, and I'm very optimistic. I feel that the government of Guam and the Chamorro Land Trust Commission in particular have a very, very strong case.
Phillips says if a settlement is reached, they'll still have to get approval from higher-ups in the Justice Department and locally with ADLUP and the CLTC. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
Nestor, thanks much. Also tonight, lease agreements were signed less than 4 months prior, and these tenants have been without water for some time, and they're being told they have to evacuate within 24 hours. Adriana Cotero explains in this story.
They don't even look at this. Look at this.
Knocking on the doors of her neighbors at Yang's apartment in Maite, who live in the same complex and are experiencing the same issues within their units. Catherine Blas signed a rental lease agreement in July 2019.
When we got in, they asked us for 2 months rental, 1 month security deposit.
According to Blas, 1 month into her agreement, water started leaking from the roof. And 3 weeks ago, her water was turned off.
When I called and I informed the office people about my water, the first thing they said is, "Did you pay the rental?" I said, "Why am I going to pay my rental when my house has been leaking for 4 months? Okay? If you guys come and fix my leaking of my house and the damages, then we're capable to pay the rental."
The tenant living upstairs, Elaine Caleb, and her family of 5 moved into Yang's apartment in September 2019. She tells KUAM they went 1 month without water.
They want me to pay because they said I'm behind, which is I pay down the security deposit on September before I move in, and plus the security deposit. And they want me to pay two times security deposit plus 1 month advance again.
According to Caleb, she received a letter yesterday evening from the property owners, Ting Realty.
And they said they're gonna give me 24 hours to move. It's really hard for me to deal with this kind because I never have this one before. This is the first time in my life I faced this one.
Blas took the next step to face it and went to GWA.
According to the customer service, when I went there on Monday, I was asking them about Yang's apartment, that there's 2 of us don't have water. And then the lady told me that right now Yang's apartment is under investigation.
Blas said she asked for the documents and they stated illegal tampering, and that the water division showed her a tag they put on the meter and told her right now there is no pipe running to her unit.
This is the tag of the legal tampering. It says ISC. When I asked them what is the meaning of ISC, it says due to investigation, it's under investigate.
Ting Realty Operations Nicole Ting confirmed there are issues with the apartment units. In fact, one in particular.
We have a major issue with one of the units. That's also, it's a B3, the unit is B3, and we have spoken to the person, we have spoken to the tenant we asked her to vacate the unit because we were worried that something else might happen, like, you know, the roof or the ceiling collapsing.
B3 is Blas's apartment. According to Ting Realty, the tenants prior never had any problems. What about the tenant to the left and the tenants above? Because they all seem to have the exact same issue.
That's what we learned also. That is why we have been working on this to try to rectify the situation, but somehow we need them to go.
Ting said they need to work on the units and make it better. And in regards to the illegal water tampering, she says they have no idea at this point and just spoke with GWA this morning. And it was this morning that Blas tells KUAM her next step is legal action. Do you plan to file any complaints?
If I find a place already, I'm moving out from here. As soon as I settle down with my place, I'm trying to fix things up to do a fire complaint against the property manager.
Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Adriana Cotero.
We're going to take a tiny little break, but please stay tuned and keep streaming us because we will be back with more.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now.
Matson is in this community. We've been in this community for decades. We're gonna be in this community for decades to come. Things will get busy, things will get quiet, but we're gonna be here. We're your hometown carrier. And that matters to us.
Reliability is the core of our business. We take pride in ensuring that we arrive in Guam on time as scheduled.
It's our local employees who understand the market, who understand the business, and provide that hard work for you each and every day.
When we hold ourselves to high standards, our customers also hold us to high standards. We establish good business relationships that turn into friendships. That's why it's so important to be here and be trusted by your customers. We want you to trust Matson like your friend, like your family.
We value relationships because when we commit,
I love you guys until you're 80, until you're 90, until you're 100, forever.
We are in it for the long run, so you can enjoy the moments that matter. Because when we commit to relationships, we never stop caring. Calvo's Select Care, health care that is always there for you. Federal employees and annuitants enroll today.
Okay. Can I meet Alan, please? Attention passengers of flight AJ3004, your flight has been delayed.
It's the flavor that makes you go, woo. McDonald's new spicy barbecue glazed tenders and chicken sandwich. Made with tender, juicy, all-white meat chicken.
Available in 4, 6, or 10-piece chicken tenders. Try the spicy barbecue crispy chicken sandwich too.
It's a special delivery to your inbox every week with your KUAM News Roundup, program advisories, and promotions. Sign up for the weekly KUAM Digital Digest today on KUAM.com.
Welcome back, everybody. The Army Corps of Engineers assessment of GMH is planned for next week, and hospital officials tell KUAM News the facility repairs that need to be cared for.
That's what we do every day. Is we have to make do with our current situation. There's one thing we know how to do, and that's survive. And we do it for the patient and the families.
Surviving. The Guam Memorial Hospital has been off and on divert status for years now due to a lack of nursing staff and not enough finances to care for all the needs of the facility. GMH's Administrator of Operations, William Kandu, is aware of the structural integrity of the hospital's Z wing, but this is just one area. GMH says next week on November 18th, the Army Corps of Engineers will be coming on the entire hospital grounds to perform an assessment.
They're very familiar with comparing existing hospitals, the cost of possibly retrofitting an existing hospital versus building a new hospital.
Kandu added that retrofitting can be pretty substantial and very destructive. According to GMH Administrator Lillian Posadas, there will be 2 teams of engineers. One team will be looking at the architectural, fire detection, structural stability, and integrity of the facility, while the other team will be looking at mechanical, electrical, and communication operations. Posadas says a primary area they want the team to inspect
the electrical distribution panel, that we would like for them to take a look at that. Although, we've been getting the technical and the mechanical support and expertise from GPA, we also would like for the engineers to come and take a look at that.
Look at that and also the roof leaking. In an interview with KUAM this week, Governor Lou Leon Guerrero said the issues at GMH were nothing they could not address, stating that, quote, GMH will have to be renovated and that all areas will need to be expanded, end quote. Expansion may be one result from the assessment, and another could be a complete rebuild.
Just the facilities, the structural integrity, withhold expansion, withhold renovation, withhold modernization, additional, expansion. Should it still have that capability, then that's probably what they'll recommend. Or that they see that, the structure is just already really old and will not be able to withstand any additional construction, expansion, or extension. Then, of course, they're going to recommend that, we need a new hospital. We need to build a new hospital.
However, a rebuild in this location is not an option, Posada says, because there is just no room in terms of land. A final report from the Army Corps Engineers is expected to come back by January or February of 2020. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Adriana Cotero.
From Tamuning to Hagåtña we go, as senators spent the afternoon in the Committee of the Whole discussing a bill clarifying a relatively unknown fund for alcoholic beverage compliance fees and fines. Representatives from Revenue Tax, the Administration Department, and the Office of Finance and Budget were brought in to talk about just what amounts to $14,000 in collections since the law was established back in 2013. But the discussion did lead to more pressing issues such as drinking in school. Revenue Tax Director Daphne Shimizu said those concerns are definitely on her agency's radar.
Those are absolutely at the forefront of what we're doing. That's why it's very important that our team is that we get additional, or that we get funding that we need for our team so we can go out and do these things, because in the end, it's not just about regulating for regulation's sake. It's really about enforcement, and ultimately so that we can keep our people safe.
I have a couple amendments.
Money for the fund comes from fees for alcoholic beverage control cards and wine sampling and tasting events. The policy identifies specific areas Revenue Tax can spend the money, such as enforcement and public service campaigns promoting responsible drinking and driving practices, as well as youth programs and education. Well, 4 new laws are now on the books as the governor signed Senator Amanda Shelton's bill adding vaping to the public smoking ban known as the Natasha Protection Act. The island's chief executive also signed a second measure by Shelton, raising GPA's renewable energy goals to 100% by 2045. Also signed were new rules and regulations for the Board of Allied Health Examiners and the reestablishment of the Guam Film Office under the Educational Telecommunications Corporation, otherwise known as PBS Guam. Earlier this morning, a public hearing was held for a resolution assisting DOE with its efforts to address the high-risk status, specific conditions, and to return financial management and control over federal funds to that agency. The resolution was introduced by Vice Speaker Talina Nelson and the aforementioned Senator Shelton, drawing support from DOE Superintendent John Fernandez, who noted that his agency has been making strides to meet the conditions therein. Dr. Kelly Sokola, Deputy Superintendent of Education Support and Community Learning, spoke on behalf of the superintendent, who's currently in the mainland.
Over the past year, USDOE has also deemed 4 of the 7 special conditions to have been met, including the requirements for a single audit, prompt access to information, program-specific conditions, and program compliance. This leaves 3 conditions in place, including the requirement for a TPFA, completion of the REP, and 4 specific activities to be conducted by the TPFA.
Fernandez is in the mainland along with Education Board Chairman Mark Mendiola and Vice Speaker Talina Nelson, where they'll meet with federal officials. The visit will include meetings with Assistant Secretary Frank Brogan, who oversees elementary and secondary education for USDOE. The superintendent will request that the feds render a decision on Guam's request for reconsideration of special conditions associated with high risk. Well, back in May, some $3.8 million was returned to the E911 fund, allowing the steps necessary to start the transition to the next generation 911 system. GFD's Dan Stone says contract negotiations for the system remain ongoing. Here's the chief on this latest endeavor.
I tried to establish a timeline at the beginning when I first took this position, but like with any timeline, they're subject to change, whether priorities change, situations come up that require more immediate attention. But I would say for the most part, our timelines are right where I need them to be.
Stone remains hopeful they'll come to some sort of final contract by the end of the year. Well, last night at Crust in East Agana, wine and food lovers indulged in a night with the family. The IWS event featured Francis Ford Coppola wines from their Diamond collection, pairing them with classic Italian dishes such as spaghetti, bisecca alla Florentina, and strawberry crostata. Speaking at the Godfather theme was Emily Putnam, VP of International Sales for the family Coppola. And before we go to our commercial break, a quick programming note. TV8 will cover the NBC News report impeachment inquiry in Washington, D.C. That happens live at 1 a.m. Please stay tuned. Sports is coming up.
Make every day a plus.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
Choose, press, play. Check out the latest flicks at home on Docomo Pacific View It On Demand, powered by TiVo. Here's our top picks for the month. Choose, press, play, and enjoy endless entertainment with View It On Demand, powered by TiVo on Docomo Pacific. Better together.
KUAM Sports is presented by Triple J.
What's up, Guam? Dave Delgado here for KUAM Sports. Thanks for watching. In studio, Bill Bennett. We're talking softball and baseball. Welcome to the show. First off, Special Olympics Guam partnering with Guam Pony Champions. You guys just finished regular season practices. Now we're going into championship game mode.
Right. Well, we just finished 5 weeks of on-field training where the athletes get some game experience on throwing and playing and gameplay. And then starting this Saturday, for the next 4 Saturdays, we'll have the actual league where teams have already been formed, and they'll play games with the championship round on December 7th. All the games will be in the morning time, starting at 8 a.m., and we'll finish up by 11:30, and all the games will be played at the Tejan Fields.
And a big turnout, 6 teams.
Yeah, we have about 70 athletes, hopefully. So each team has got about 10 or 12 players, and we'll be able to play for 1 hour and hopefully get in maybe 4 innings and let the athletes play and have fun and challenge them a little bit on the field.
And congratulations on teaming up with the UOG Athletics Department, trying to revamp that baseball program there at UOG.
Well, you know, Doug Palmer has been very aggressive since he's come here in 2016 as the athletic director. Done a great job out there. And, you know, we've been talking the last couple of years about varsity baseball, so we finally came up with a 3-year strategy plan to incorporate varsity baseball, you know, for the students of UOG.
And you also have a partnership with people in the Philippines building a world-class stadium there.
Well, the city of Taguig basically has hired me as an advisor consultant on the design phase and construction phase of the stadium. So I give my advice and work with the folks there, and to, you know, make sure that we stay on course, because their ultimate goal is to have a stadium that will be able to have WBSC games there, and of course there's a certain desire to have a really high image there. With the whole field will be synthetic turf. We'll have a great lighting system, and the stadium will be a full stadium with all the amenities, workout areas, fitness center, and everything. So if we can follow the plan and stay on course, it's going to be a beautiful stadium.
And as far as stadiums, where does this rank as far as stadium stateside or internationally, the way it's going to be designed?
This would be equal to a minor league stadium or a high-level community stadium you see in cities around the United States. It won't match anything like major league stadiums, because we're not going to have outfield bleachers at this time, and it's only going to seat initially from the start 5,000 seats, with the ability to add on as the years go by.
And would that be able to hold other sporting events, or is it strictly a baseball field?
Well, I suppose the city government, if they want to have other sports in there, they can, or concerts. That's something that will come down later that's going to be made by the actual landlord, which is the Taguig City. I know there's been a request to play softball there, so there might be some provisions for a softball diamond as well.
All right, well, always appreciate the time. That's going to do it for sports. We're back right after this.
It is the spirit within us, our soul, our essence that drives us to seek a better way, to create beauty and enrich the senses, to inspire fulfilling lives, to be at one with our earth and protect those who we love. Only by taking on challenges do we change the world for the better.
Why would anyone run a race? Is it about finishing a 5K in under 20 minutes? Beating your personal best? Or running over 26 miles for a marathon? It's more than a race of time, speed, or distance. It's about being in a destination unlike any other. It's about pushing yourself and being yourself in a community of over 4,000 runners, with people to cheer you on. It's because it starts here and ends here. Run in paradise.
Well, birthdays is so special. Coming right up to the camera to tell you, here are tonight's birthday shoutouts. Let's get right into it by saying happy birthday to Bryce, Lisa, Nicholas. Happy birthday. Love your family. Also, Aaliyah Mari Mindiola blows out the candle today, so happy birthday to you, Aaliyah. Happy birthday number 14 to Atisha Maria Espanio Smith. Happy birthday, blessings, baby girl. We love you and miss you plenty, coming from your familia. And also happy birthday, also number 14, to Ricardo Leon Guerrero II. Happy 14th, Ricardo, with love from your San Agustin and Leon Guerrero families. And lastly, happy birthday to Lukey Cruz, and look how happy Lukey looks here. Lukey turned 11 today, and from your family, they all say, we love you so, so much. Hope everybody had fantastic birthdays. If you want to be part of the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club, just go to KUAM.com, click on birthdays, and you are in. And if you want to do a Chris Barnett exit, stay tuned because we'll be back right after this. Half day, everybody. Jason Salas here, and thank you so much for streaming KUAM News Extra or watching on KUAM TV8. We are going to get started off right away by talking about literacy and the wonderful joy that are books, that are magazines, that are periodicals. The library is a wonderful resource that everybody should take advantage of, and the Guam Public Library System is bringing back some very, very popular services. I have here Diana and Janelle, and we are going to talk about the library.
Yes.
Ladies, thank you so much for what you do for keeping literacy alive. I know we live in an area of Facebook and Snapchat and Instagram and everything like that, but if you want a true story, you got to go to the library.
Thank you so much for having us.
And you got to read a book, exactly. Okay, how long have each of you worked for the Guam Public Library System?
Actually, I'm new. I started maybe 2.5 months ago.
Okay.
So I hit the ground running.
Okay, and where did you come from originally? Before that?
Before I worked at Gita.
Okay.
And then my husband and I moved off island and we came back.
Okay, this job I would say is significantly more quiet.
Yes.
Than economic development and,
yes.
and, you know, forecasting and charts and interest rates. And, but nonetheless more important in everything because you're teaching not only young people but also an older generation and everything like that, that you can go anywhere in the world and you can learn anything and basically be anything you want through books.
Yes,
okay.
Definitely.
Okay, so you guys actually have, I don't even want to bury the lead. You guys have a wonderful program, an island institution that you guys are bringing back.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what is that?
That's our bookmobile.
Yes.
Yes. So we will be launching that. That will be part of the ceremony that's part of the ceremony that we're going to have. The 70th. Well, I'll let you take the lead.
Yeah. So this year is the library's 70th anniversary. So to commemorate that, we're having an event Tuesday, November 26th at 10 a.m. and it's open to the public. So we want everyone to come and celebrate with us our 70th anniversary, and there is where we're going to relaunch our bookmobile.
Okay, and how long has it been since the bookmobile has been around? Because we used to talk about it all the time. You'd see it. It was like, I mean, where I grew up, right? I grew up in Dedido, right? So when you pop out with States, it was a bookmobile and it was an ice cream truck on weekends and everything. Those were like, you know, everybody runs out of the house, and because it was happiness on wheels.
So it's been 20 plus years that we've had the bookmobile. It actually, unfortunately, went down in 2013, but through the joint efforts of the Office of the Governor and with the private sector sponsors, we have been able to get the bookmobile up and running. So the sponsors, the private sector sponsors, actually include Matson Navigation as the lead sponsor. So we'd like to thank them, and also the KUAM Care Force. They're great sponsors. We also have other great sponsors that we'd like to thank, and that would be Cabris Marine, South Pacific Petroleum Corporation, Pacific Daily News, GTA, and RIMS.
Each of those companies I know is very big into literacy too. So it's our honor to be able to help out. So, okay, for people that have never experienced the bookmobile, Diana, what types of books are there? How many? And does it offer like all the full range of services if I actually went and set foot in the library? Like I can check out books, right?
Yes. There's going to be a library technician on the bookmobile when we have our scheduled routes. They're going to stop by specific places. We're actually working on our schedule right now, so anyone who wants to be a part of it, they can call our offices and ask to be a part of the bookmobile route. But I know that this round we're going to focus a lot on children's collections because we want a lot of the kids to come and see what's in the bookmobile and all the books on it. Sometimes we'll offer arts and crafts and story time when they stop.
Nice.
Yeah. And that's about it.
That's a wonderful thing. So when you see the bookmobile come around, or we're going to put like all the schedules and everything like that on our social media and everything like that.
Yeah.
Make sure you go outside. They're the nicest people in the world. They got Guamanians with big, huge smiles and everything like that. Make sure you endorse them. Okay, there's also a mural.
Yes.
Speaking of wonderful things to look at.
Yes.
Please tell me all about that.
So the other part of the 70th year commemoration, that event that we're having is, like you said, we're going to unveil a wall mural, and
it's going to be along Route 4.
Yes.
It's a bit of a surprise.
So we can't tell you about that just yet.
We can't tell you that much about what's going to be on it.
Well, do you guys librarians or you guys marketing people? You guys are all leading up to the big T's.
Although it's Route 4, so I don't know how much of a surprise.
So that's basically Sinania going down into Agana, right?
Yeah. Right across Nambo and Shirley's, that intersection.
Okay.
Yes.
So basically right at the Nieves and Flores Memorial Library in Agana.
So if you're passing by, you might already start to see our artists painting because they've already started, and it'll be unveiled on the 26th.
Very cool.
Our artist is also a teacher at JFK, so we did a service learning collaboration with him and his art students, and they're also painting the hallways inside our library, our children's section, which we're expanding. So we have a children's activity room called Plaza Paraiso that we're going to unveil that day as well. And his kids are going to paint along the hallways. So that will also be unveiled.
Very nice.
So to add on to that, currently the children's library, when you come into the main entrance, would be on the right-hand side, and that will be considered the Plaza Manaytay, a place to read. And then the left side, which is the one that she explained, the Plaza Paraiso, that will be kind of like the area that you can get a little bit more noisy. You know, it'll have arts and crafts. It'll also be a place where we have a stage for kids to do things like perform or to do puppet shows and stuff like that, in a way for them to not only just have fun, but also to kind of work on their, getting over their fear of being in front of people.
Exactly.
Build up their self-confidence. So that's part of the
I used to love
stuff.
going to the library. You make new friends.
Yes.
You know, you get to hang out, get to do really, really cool activities and everything. Okay, we got to go because our time is running out. But if each of you can maybe give us a one-sentence answer, and because there's an entire generation of young people out there that don't know the joy of going to the library, you know, experiencing that with your parents and your friends. What should they expect when they go to their public library on Guam?
I hope that they find a place where they can escape. They can use their imagination and just explore without having to leave the island. You open a book and you're transported, and we'll help you get there.
Very nice. How about you, Janelle?
It's kind of like what you said earlier. You know, it's a place where you can, well, actually, it's kind of like the same thing. You just be transported through books. You know, your dreams and everything that you might imagine, you can all do that through reading books.
All right. Well, thank you both.
Thank you so much for having us.
All right, and congratulations on bringing back the bookmobile. As the song goes, butterfly in the sky, I could fly twice as high. You know the rest. We'll be back after this.
Smiling is a natural response to joy.